Tonight from Tiger Yard, it's a District 7 6A matchup as the Irving Tigers play host to the Vikings of Nimitz. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. This mid-March evening, John Nelson along with Rob Willman. The Nimitz Vikings coming off a 2-game loss in district to the Gophers of Grand Prairie. Irving coming off a loss to Duncanville to open up district play as both teams find themselves 0-2. There are the scores from the Grand Prairie series and the Duncanville Panthers series. Nimitz overall at 4-10. This is their 15th game of the year. The Irving Tigers come in at 3-7. Irving last year finished 6-8, guided by head coach Matt Sarter in year number 2. Former air hog for the Grand Prairie team in the Independent League, a UTA Maverick collegiately. Nimitz last year made the playoffs. They finished 3rd place in the district with a mark of 8-6. Nimitz comes in having won 3 of their last 5. Junior R.J. Benitez on the hill tonight for the Irving Tigers. He'll face this lineup: Castro, Coronado, and McDuffie, the top of the order. Vegan, Perez, and Mascarnik in the middle. Martinez, Cruz, and Iho the bottom third. Nimitz collectively hitting at .204, averaging 3 runs in district play. They have not been shut out so far. 2 teams split their series last year, and they'll turn around and play each other again in this district schedule that was in effect a couple of years ago, where you play the same teams twice in a week. But first things first, Nimitz and Irving about ready to get it underway. And with tonight's first pitch call, here's Rob Willman.
All right, John, thank you very much. On this first day of spring, the rivals facing each other at Tiger Yard. And the first pitch offered up by Benitez is a fastball on the outside for a ball. Benitez has pitched 8 innings, given up 2 runs, has walked 5, struck out 6. Facing one of the better hitters for the Vikings, who have been plagued with a lot of injuries throughout the course of this season. Coach Somwing not making any excuses, but he's played a lot of underclassmen and has brought up a few junior varsity players. In fact, about 3 in the lineup tonight. Swung on and missed by Castro, who came in with the team's only home run. Leads the team in RBIs with 10 and hitting right around that 500 mark. So a great guy to have as your leadoff hitter in the 1-2. Breaking ball in the dirt that Ramos had to dig out and backhand, and the count is even at 2-2. Grass pretty green. A little breeze from center to right. And the 2-2 offering is hit to second base. Christian Rodriguez up with it over to Inocencio, and there's 1 down.
And that's a big out because Castro does lead the team in total hits with 20, as Benitez able to dispatch the opposing pitcher tonight.
Ironically, on this first day of spring, it was a little cooler than the last day of winter. 66 around game time. A little breezy though, like we talked about earlier. Fastball to Coronado with 3 RBIs. The sophomore shortstop. He usually plays second base, but he was forced to play short because the shortstop broke the hand, the wrist, sliding into second base. And that's Sal Garcia, who usually plays the shortstop position for the Vikings. So a lot of guys playing in positions. The coach, as you take a look at Alan Somwing there, the head coach, 3rd season, he was telling me a lot of players out of position defensively, and it's shown. There's a base hit in the hole to left, and Coronado has the base hit.
Just a sliver of sun that is more dominant on the right side of the infield and in right center and dead right field for about the next 20 minutes or so. Cool breeze continues here at Tiger Yard.
Bring up the senior 3rd baseman, John McDuffie, batting .231, 5 RBIs. It's a strike called right on the inside corner, kind of tight to McDuffie. The senior looking down at his teammates, and like we've seen quite often And girls softball, we're seeing it boys hardball as well, and that's everyone wearing one of those armbands. Some of those armbands have the calls on them. Infield straight away. Rodriguez maybe a little close to second. So there's a pretty good gap between first and second. Seven o'clock starts on these games. Love that. For a few seasons we had 7:30 starts. But now they kind of coincide along with the girls softball, which we've had the last 2 weeks on ICTN. So
pretty well uniform in most districts around the area now. 7 o'clock starts for varsity games.
John looked at the wristband. They throw back to first, trying to keep Coronado tight and close. Only 1 week of district play under the belts for both. Breaking ball outside.
Didn't miss by much.
Nope, 1-2 now. As Benitez trying to get McDuffie to go after the bad pitch. Fastball right to first. Inocencio will take the easy play. And there's 2 down.
Kind of topped it and has stayed fair, and a break for the Irving Tigers to get that second out.
Yeah, at first I thought that was destined to go foul, but it had just enough English on it to stay in play. Boy, they got the grill fired up down at the concession stand. It smells pretty nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, this has always been a good grill here. You'll testify to that.
Yeah. And because the wind's blowing from concession stand over to first base, we can smell the grill. This is Chad Vegan, the senior. 9 RBIs, second on the team in RBIs. Tied things up against the Gophers last week, only to see the Vikings lose in the bottom of the inning. It's been that kind of season for the Vikes. 4-9 overall, 0-2 in district play. The lefty likes to stand pretty close in that box, as you can see there.
He was pretty productive, Rob. It did drive in both runs in that 1-run loss to the Gophers.
Well, they got the clutch hitter up now with 2 out and a runner at second. Fastball hit straight back. This should be out of play. Hit maybe the first row and then the glass in the press box.
Right in front of the scores area.
Yeah, pretty thick window. Thing didn't even move, did it?
Not at all.
I said, I'll have another. So Benitez ahead on the count, trying to get the cleanup man. Here in the top of the first, and his inside hit him. And those kind of pitches will drive a coach crazy when you've got an 0-2 count on the cleanup man. And you end up giving up a hit pitch, and that'll bring up Noah Perez looking for his first base hit. He's played a couple of games. They've had to use Perez because of a handful of injuries on this team. Curveball high, misses.
There's a lead runner at second, Marcus Coronado.
Swung and missed. Daniel Martinez, who used to play for the Tigers, I don't believe he even made the trip. He will be the starting pitcher in Game 2 of this series when they go back to Nimitz in a couple of days. Got him to go after a fastball inside. A lot of players just can't give up that pitch. Batters love the inside for some reason. And Noah Perez, no different. And once again, Benitez ahead on the count. Misses the mark way outside.
RJ's kind of sneaky fast.
He does, doesn't he?
Ball gets up there a little quicker than you think it does.
Swung on and missed.
Good pitch.
So they leave a couple, but he gets the strikeout. And that's all that counts, is leaving the base runners on the bases and not giving up any runs. So we go to a half inning with 1 hit, 2 men left on. No score at Tiger Yard on a beautiful day in Irving.
Our
Sun
first
goes down.
baseball game.
I think it might get a little chilly when that sun goes down, as you take a look at Coach Sarter.
Sometimes the spring calendar means nothing. I mean, Easter being so early this year, kind of have to play your cards right as to take a sweater, a sweatshirt, or anything else to keep comfortable, because it will be chilly later on tonight in about an hour. Here's the senior Jacob Castro on the hill tonight for the Nimitz Vikings. Has a record of 1-3. In the lineup tonight for the hometown Irving Tigers, Watkins, Benitez, Inocencio. The middle of the order, Ramos, Rodriguez, and Hart. Gage Hart is the designated hitter. And then Christian Rodriguez, Andrew Benitez, and Chance Malcomesius, 7, 8, and 9 in the order.
So, John, have you taken a look at the Farmer's Almanac to see if we're going to have a hot summer or not? You could pretty much predict a hot summer anyway down here, but
they say it may mirror last year, which wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. It's just amazing how the calendar can almost predict the weather. I mean, we have an early Easter this year in 2018, and it seems like the trees are already starting to bud a little earlier,
and the pollen's flying.
You haven't been down in South Texas or East Texas. You go down there, and it leaves a nice yellow dusting over your cars. Don't have as much of that here, luckily. Grant Watkins will lead things off. Fastball on the outside corner for a called strike, and it's 1-1. Jacob Castro working pretty quick. That one right center. That is going to fall for a base hit. Watkins rounds first, thought about going to second. Martinez gets it back in. It misses the cutoff man, Nico, but leadoff man aboard.
Grant Watkins came in batting .400 in district play. He scored more runs than anyone and really got all of this one in right center field, and Martinez able to get to it and cut it off. As you said, Rob Watkins with a big turn at first, but content with a leadoff single.
Both pitchers bat early in the lineup. Castro a leadoff, as that goes to first for the Vikings, and then his counterpart, R.J. Benitez, batting second, 389, 5 RBIs. Second on the team with as many RBIs, and fouls that back. You can tell the seasoned fans out there, they bring their blankets and their heavy jackets. Unless you're a student and they're just so hot-blooded anyway, they don't need jackets. But yeah, there you are. There's some of the fans there tonight.
Now, what do you consider a heavy jacket?
You know, one with a hood, fleece. Fleece is a heavy jacket. Strike called, outside corner. Good pitch by Castro.
Irving comes in with a team batting average of .298, averaging 5 runs in their 14 games so far.
Castro walks about as many as he strikes out. Has an 0-2 lead, and the fastball is high. Benitez wouldn't bite. The junior with a runner in front of him. Too good of a hitter to use him as a sacrifice decoy, so he's batting straight away here in the bottom of the first. really missed its mark. And it's 2-2. Look at there. The Tigers do not have the numbers on their wristband. They do it the old-fashioned way. Fouled off again to the right side. And Benitez hanging in there.
Right fielder still shading his eyes, and not much sun at all left, and that's the only part of the diamond out in the right field. Chad Vegan in right.
Benitez, the only player on the team with a triple this year. Breaking ball in the dirt, wasn't even close. Benitez wouldn't bite, and the count is full at 3-2. Yep, there's the right fielder. The shades, the bill of the cap, and even the hand.
Just don't hit it to me right now.
Inside and tight, and that was an easy call for Benitez to hold up. So he walks down to first base. So the first two runners on board. And Damian Inocencio, the first baseman, who has a couple of RBIs this year, batting under 200. I mean, both teams, John, if you look at the batting averages, they're not killing the world.
No, it's hot at the top. The middle is kind of cool. Then the bottom third of the order, one of the three is usually pretty hot, as we have a pinch runner for the Irving Tigers.
Damian Millen, number 17.
Junior.
So Millen's at first. Watkins at second. This will bring up Inocencio, and he looks at the first pitch for a called strike. Again, Coronado at short, a position he hasn't played in a long time because of the injury earlier this year. Fastball low, and it's 1-1.
We'll see both of these teams later in the spring. As we mentioned, our first baseball game on ICTN. We've brought you a couple of softball games so far.
Right off the handle, down the first baseline, and almost scooped by Perez. Goes out of the glove, and nothing but a strike, and it's 1-2.
Kind of got a late start.
Yeah, those two softball games we did, they were high scoring. And watch Perez again, John.
Yeah, just got a little bit of a late start off the heel of the glove.
Actually, kind of overran it a little bit. Nice stop by Cruz behind home plate. Count even at 2-2. Tigers in their home uniforms, white and gold. Players wearing the stirrups as well. Gold with the black stripes. Look pretty cool. A little throwback edition. Curveball gets past Cruz this time. Both runners will advance. They're in scoring position with nobody out and the count full.
Well, you mentioned the numbers on the year for Castro, and that has been a problem, his walk to strikeout ratio, and in danger of loading up here in the bottom of the first.
Allen's used a host of pitchers. He has 4 that have thrown double-digit innings so far this year. That is not even close, and the bases are now loaded, as Castro has walked the last 2.
That will bring the head coach from the first base dugout out to the hill to try to settle down his senior right-hander. Nobody out, and a golden opportunity for the Tigers to break it open here. Base hit and a couple of walks. From first to third, Perez, Nijo, Coronado, and McDuffie. The outfield alignment from right to left is Vegan, Martinez, and Barnett. Alejandro Cruz behind the plate. And Jacob Castro struggling here in the bottom of the first on the mound, trying to get at least one out here. Needs a ground ball or a ball that stays in the park.
You notice, John, they're playing rather deep at our regular at second and short, but close to in the grass on the corners. Fastball at the knees, but maybe not over the plate. It was close. And Jesse Ramos holding off on that. He's the other RBI producer on this team. Senior leadership. That's a strike called. And I bet Matt Sarter was telling his players just to make him throw strikes here before we even take the bat off our shoulder. Let off on that one a little bit, and it's fouled to the right. The kids over there just playing catch. Better keep their head on a swivel.
Turn to the left and turn to the right.
Mm-hmm. McDuffie at third, Perez at first. Defensively, that's a strike right down the pipe, and Ramos will sit down, and there's your first out of the game, and it's the dreaded backwards K as Castro found the strike zone. It appeared to me after the meeting with Somwang as he might have taken a little bit off the velocity just to work on his control somewhat. Alex Rodriguez now up at the bases juiced.
So you still do the backward K in the scorebook?
I just say it, I don't write it. Nice pitch on the outside corner, right above the knees to, I wonder if they call him A-Rod on this team.
Oh, you know that it has followed him for a long time.
Senior third baseman, a couple of RBIs, working on his batting average. Fights that one off foul over toward the school to our right.
If I'm not mistaken, was that his number with
3?
the Rangers, number 3? It
might have been.
Gosh, it seems like 100 years ago now, but
$100 million ago?
Yeah.
Now back to the pitcher. What are they going to do? They're going to go home for one of them. Got the force. The throw gets past the first baseman, Perez. That's going to plate one. Are they going to call it a dead ball? Did it hit the player? Hold everything.
Yeah, they did hit him on the left hand. Take another look at it here. The play by
They're going to call interference, John.
Okay, runners.
Call him out.
Run does count. And there is the third out. So Castro to home for 1. And a throw down by Cruz as that one forced Perez to reach across Rodriguez.
Now I can see what's going on between Sarter saying, why did you call him out? Somwang's going to say, well, why are you counting the run?
It came in well ahead of the play at first.
Did it look like he interfered with him, John?
It was pretty close. He's right on top of the bag as Perez had to reach around, but I think Cruz.
Watch, to slow it down if you can't.
Well, Rodriguez
he's
has
right over.
Just
okay.
inches inside, but that's about as close as you can have at first base on the interference call.
First base.
Yeah, he's inside here.
Okay.
Oh, I've seen that play let go a lot of times, so just play through and a throwing error and another run scores. Could go either way sometimes, but the runner's interference.
That run doesn't count. I need a coach to tell me that. Yeah, that run doesn't count.
Now the courtesy runner for Benitez. They're saying now the run does not count, but I thought that would hold up. But they needed 3 outs, and they got them rather unconventionally. But
well, I'm still waiting for the umpire to say the run counts or doesn't count.
kind of a break for Castro and the Tigers.
Umpires telling our crew the run does not count.
Okay, take it off the board, so Damian Millen's effort does not count.
All right, so we go to the second after a little excitement there to end the bottom of the first. Maskarnik, Martinez, Cruz are scheduled 3 here for the top of inning number 2, and Sarder wants some more information on why the run didn't count.
That's what I'm kind of wondering also. Well, they do collect a hit in the inning and a couple of walks and a strikeout.
Boy, that last inning, John, had big potential for the Tigers, scoring a lot of runs. There's a ball hit sky high to third. Alex Rodriguez over, in, and makes the play.
And foul ground, stayed with it. Hit a mile high. Rodriguez halfway to the dugout to third base, able to corral it.
You know, it's already just a nice little rivalry between some Irving schools, and you add that bottom of the first fiasco and add a little fuel to the fire, and oh, it's fun when they play. Alex Martinez up. Fastball just misses on the outside. Martinez 3 RBI on the season, but batting under 150. Facing Benitez, who, as John so aptly put it, has a sneaky fastball. That one over the plate, and the count is even at 1-1. A little high, and I love the way Benitez works. Not a lot of him hawing up there on the mound. He gets it.
Quick signals.
Yep, looks at the call, says, okay, I got it. Here we go. Fastball on the outside corner. Strike 2.
Oh, that bottom half of the first inning, he had a force out, a fielder's choice, an error, and runner's interference.
Boy, how many times do you get that in a game? Much less an inning. And to end an inning, to negate a run. Ball's hitting the sky there to Christian Rodriguez at second. Puts the squeeze on it. And 2 down. So Cruz will step in, the catcher. One of 3 sophomores in the batting order, 2 of which are out on the field. The other is the DH. Base is empty. Benitez a little high on that one. Wind has calmed down considerably since the sun disappeared for the day. Low. Everyone pretty much straight away.
Home plate faces northeast. And the wind out of the northwest tonight.
And high. Notice the right fielder, Benitez, has his sweatshirt on.
Got a gray warm-up sweatshirt out in right field.
Yeah, but it's cooler out in right field. You're farther away from the lights. And there's a walk. So Cruz takes a look at a few bad pitches and gets the free pass to first. Second walk given up, or a hit batter and a walk. And the bottom of the order, and Marcos Nijo, the second baseman.
Got to be Nicholson running at first. With 2 outs, and the number 9 hitter up.
It's good, I think, unless your catcher is a speedster, to pinch run him, get his gear back on. Fastball about helmet high. Got your season tickets to the Rangers this year?
The opening season day tickets. The only one so far.
Hope springs eternal on that first game. Foul back.
Everybody starts out 0-0 and hope for a good 6 months. Toying with the idea of the Red Sox and the Yankees opening up in London.
Really? Throw back to first.
Next year or the year after.
So the Rangers thinking about 6 pitchers. 6, that's, you on board with that, Mr. Nelson?
Well, it's by committee right now. A lot of teams carrying 16 pitchers this year. More so in the American League because of the DH.
Got a nice little call there. Is that one on the outside?
I like those stirrups that look like the old Padres, San Diego.
Yeah.
That Inocencio has.
Two down to the number 9 hitter. It's outside as Ramos kept the glove in that position a second or two longer after the call, trying to prove his point to the home plate umpire. Got a series of 2s on the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. In the top of the second, RJ not content on leaving Nicholson unattended. He will throw over to first on an occasion or two, as he's shown already here in the early stages of this one. Runner going, swung on and missed, strikeout number 2 now, as Niho goes down on strikes. 1 runner left on as we go to the bottom of the second. In Irving.
Well, the walk after 2 are out didn't hurt Benitez there. The dimensions here at Tiger Yard is 325 down the lines, 375 in deep right and left center, and a 7-foot high fence all the way around.
Well, I know there's, getting back to the Rangers, the 2018 edition, as you take a look at some of the fans enjoying the popcorn and prime seats behind home plate. Not a lot of people giving the Rangers much of a chance. And with the pitching staff, the aforementioned pitching staff, you can see why. A lot of people saying this will be Cole Hamels' last season with the Rangers.
Yeah, very well could be, and depending on what kind of start they get off to, you may see wholesale changes after after the first 3 months.
Have you heard anything about Lincecum? Has he
Bullpen right now.
Has he even looked good doing that?
Average.
There's always a reason why somebody's available, right?
In both leagues. Boy, it seems like just yesterday that Lincecum was on the hill in that 2010 World Series out at the ballpark.
All the rage. Here we are relying on Cologne to be one of our best pitchers. That's what Lincecum would look like if he didn't have a high metabolism.
Boy, he's, yeah, looks like a toothpick out there.
But they say the guy eats like anything and everything. Swung on and missed by Hart. 1 down, strikeout number 2. Christian Rodriguez, the freshman, he's gotten 1 hit this year.
Needs to eat up some innings.
Yeah. Rodriguez with 3 RBIs, though. Fastball's low, and Cruz digs that one out of the dirt. As Jacob Castro Faced 5 batters back in the first. Gave up 1 hit, but walked a couple. Swung on by Rodriguez. Andrew Benitez, sophomore right fielder, will bat next. Here in the bottom of the second. Boy, both pitchers, John, seems like they really try to work that outside corner of the plate.
Started early for RJ and Castro as well. And despite their record, Nimitz does have an ERA of under 4. Their staff ERA is at 3.98, so that's pretty respectable.
Swung and they missed. Count is even at 2. Castro working just as quick as his counterpart, and sometimes maybe it's too quick if you come up with some control issues. So the count is full. Second series in the district season. They do a home and home. I love the format. Strike call. Second strikeout on the strike 3 called variety, his 3rd overall. 2 up, 2 down, and Andrew Benitez steps in. Andrew's the one with the sweatshirt on.
And for Jacob Castro on the year, strikeout number 14, and they may ask him to remove the sweatshirt.
Or show the number. Yeah, number 6.
Benitez hitting number 8 in the batting order, just to make sure it is he. And
you could almost hear our, sorry John, our home plate camera microphone pick up the coaches questioning the number, and the home plate umpire telling the head coach for the Vikings, yes, I saw his number, it is number 6. Get some black piece of tape and make a number on the back of the jersey, or the back of the sweatshirt. You know, like you did in YMCA basketball days.
Between innings.
Foul off to the right side. I remember playing YMCA basketball and facing some teams. That's what they did. They used mask tape. Masking tape to put their jersey numbers on their jerseys.
Probably played more than 1 game that day also.
Where everything was a jump ball. There's a dribbler right past Castro. And with good speed running down first, Benitez is on board.
Well, it's do or die for Castro, and it got behind him, and Coronado had to come in from a shortstop position. Slowly hit as he tops it. Well, he almost redirected it away from everybody, but
I can't tell from that angle, but it appeared the ball hit right on the edge where the grass turns to the pitcher's mound, and there's just a little lip there. Might have hit that. Malcolm Ecius now up with the runner on, and first pitch hits the corner for a called strike. I know Andrew says, I don't care where it hit, I'm on board. And 1 batter shy of a 3 up, 3 down inning for Jacob. He'll have to face 1 more at least here in the second. Fighting off that one inside. Chance fouls it back, and just like that, Jacob's ahead on the count. No balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, you're right about Benitez. He's safe, and that's all that counts as far as his at-bat.
That's right, I'm on board. They let him, at this gesture, pretty much give him a pretty good lead, and the pitch strike right on the outside corner, so he strikes out the side. 3rd called strikeout. 4th strikeout overall, and so the mistake fielding does not hurt Castro. And the inning is over, so we finish 2. The no score. Back with more in a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the ICTN Game of the Week, District Boys Baseball between the Irving Tigers and the Irving Nimitz Vikings here at Tiger Yard. We're scoreless through 2. To take us through 2 more, John Nelson.
All right, Rob, top of the 3rd and the top of the order for the Nimitz Vikings. The pitcher, Jacob Castro, leads it off, swings on the first pitch, and sends it to the right side. It's fumbled for a minute by Rodriguez, but able to recover and throw out a tumbling Jacob Castro at first.
I think Jacob didn't know if he was going to run through it or slide through it, and he kind of did half and half. He kind of did a half-hearted slide, and that's a good way to hurt your pitcher, because the Vikings have been pretty beat up for most of the season, and there he goes head first.
Here's the shortstop, Marcus Coronado, comes up empty on the first pitch offered by the junior R.J. Benitez.
Sorry, but we're going to have to give him a 6.5 on that.
And he crossed it and then tumbled with the points have gone down.
Yeah. But if he would have flipped and came straight up and landed on his feet, then that could have been a good 9. Except for the Russian judges, and they don't care.
They have their own set of rules. John McDuffie will hit 3rd here in the top half of the inning. This one in the air, out of play.
You notice, John, I can't recall one foul that has left the yard on the left side of the field. It's all been to the right over first base.
That's the area that has seen the most activity. The windup, pitch upstairs behind the batter Coronado, who came in batting a shade under 200, collected the game's first hit after Castro had grounded out. Next offering up high as well, and the count at 3-1 on the shortstop. 2 teams split their series last year, but it's been pretty much Nimitz in the last 6 years. This one shoved foul again towards that area well off the right field line and off the school building.
Yep, the metal building, and the ball just stays on top of it. Souvenir baseball if you want to climb the building.
Count goes to full. And the payoff pitch swung on. It gets away from Ramos. It'll be a strikeout as Coronado reaches on the pass ball. So Coronado is aboard.
It's almost like might have gotten in the way of the catcher Ramos's vision. And he was out of the box very quickly, and now he's been on board both times.
So we'll have to get an extra out here. This one is foul straight back to John McDuffie, the third baseman, who grounded out to first. His first time up. Instead of 2 outs, there is 1 out and a runner at first. McDuffie batting .231, another foul pop, out of play, right side. Might as well just put a stationary camera on that area. Walkway, the building that separates these 2 facilities. Being held on at first is Coronado by Inocencio. Outfield straight up for McDuffie. A throw to first, and back in plenty of time is Coronado.
John will keep an eye on if whether or not Castro comes back out to pitch, because Niho is taking some warm-up pitches in the Viking pen.
In the air behind second base, that's Watkins and sent out, moving over towards right as it carried a little bit further out in short right field, and Watkins able to track it down, and there was out number 2.
That almost ended up in Benitez, the right fielder's territory, after it was said and done. It just kept slicing, starting off in center. Next thing you know, it ended up in right center.
So Grant Watkins had to run a long way to flag it down, and there's out number 2, and here's the right fielder, Chad Vegan.
Going back to Niho over there warming up, the question is, was he warming up before Castro took that tumble going to first base, or was it after the fact?
Well, they have used a lot of pitchers this year, as you talked about at the beginning of the game.
Well, Niho has pitched over 15 innings and has a 3.6 ERA, so he's had his chances.
There's our first foul pop to the left side. Chad Vigen was hit by a pitch back in the first inning as Coronado has to retreat at first. Vikings last year were a playoff team. They finished third in the district with a mark of 8-6. 1 on, 2 out. They'll draw another throw, but Coronado safely back. 8 seniors, 9 juniors, and 4 sophomores comprise the Nimitz varsity roster this year. Runner holds. There's a pitch inside that gets away from Ramos, and Coronado will take second.
And just like that, John, the Vikings have a runner in scoring position with 2 out. That means anything that's hit, blooper, whatever, the runner's going to be going.
Chad is second on the team in RBIs with 10. Pitch on the way, swung on and hit to deep left center field. Malcolm Isis is there, reaches down and makes the catch about knee high for out number 3. So Vigen goes opposite field, but Malcolm Isis is there, and there is out number 3 for the Vikings in the top of the third. No runs on no hits, no miscues, and a runner left. Nimitz is stranded 4 here after 3.5 innings.
Take a look at the series between these two schools, and it's been pretty much the Nimitz Vikings for about 4.5 years. That was those great playoff run teams that Nimitz had, and they took care of business. And there were a few close games back there in 2013. But then the Tigers finally broke the string, and 2016 actually won a couple in a row. And then the Nimitz Vikings took a 5-4 close one. Again, both of those close in 2017. And this is the first of 2. A few base runners, but not a lot of threats. That last ball that ended the top of the third, John, when it was first hit, I thought it was going to carry a lot further than it actually did.
I did too, and then you saw the adjustment out in left field by Chance and stayed with it. Top of the order for the Tigers here in the third. Grant Watkins, a center fielder, and watches the first pitch miss outside and high. You were talking about the scheduling, Rob, and a couple of years ago, coaches were kind of skeptical on getting these 2 district games in the same week, but now most of them are pretty much on board because you split, you have one here and one at the visiting place, so there's no advantage scheduling-wise as to where they are played. It's just a matter if you catch them early or late in the season.
Plus, the thing is you see both pitchers that a team has, not like in the old days, you might face the same good pitcher both times throughout the course of the season.
Oh, you could play him in March and then again the first week of May, and you're right, see the same pitcher. Watkins, Benitez, and Inocencio here for the Irving Tigers, and time called as Jacob will have a visit with Alejandro Cruz. A couple of hits for the Tigers so far. Watkins and Andrew Benitez. Castro on the year with a record of 1-3. This is his 4th start. And the 2-0 pitch is in the dirt, ball 3.
Well, Castro looked a little frustrated on that pitch before the signal calls and could affect his game.
Watkins trying to distract Castro as he waves the bat and draws a 4-pitch walk. 3rd walk given up by Jacob Castro, and the leadoff batter aboard for the Tigers. And here's R.J. Benitez, the pitcher. R.J. walked his first time up.
Well, again, this is the guy you want if you're Irving.
Slammed into left field on the first pitch as Damon Barnett tracked it down. Taking third is Watkins, and ending up at second is R.J. Benitez with a double.
Well, Damon Barnett, the left fielder, had a little trouble with it, John. Watch this. When he chases it down, he see it slips and goes past him, and that might have been able to Benitez to go ahead and go all the way to second base on the play.
Damian Millen is running at second for R.J. And Damian Inocencio is the batter.
So our first real threat, although the bases were loaded back in the first, no outs here.
Jacobs' first pitch is down low. Grant Watkins, the lead runner at third.
Those that have been to Tiger Yard well aware that pretty good real estate behind the catcher and the backstop.
Castro said, here's a 1-0 pitch. Into right field as Watkins will score. Damian has to hold at third as the throw comes in from Chad Vigan, and Damian Inocencio with an RBI is third in district play.
Well done by Damian. Went with the pitch, went opposite field. Infield was drawn in. He goes against and behind the base runners, and coming in to score is Watkins, and here comes the skipper. Only 2 visits in Major League Baseball this year, John. What do you think about that?
I like it.
You on board, huh?
I like it. Well, that's going to be it for Jacob Castro as he goes 2 innings and a pitching change for the Nimitz Vikings.
Well, it looks like who we thought it would be, Niho.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if Jacob's going to be a catcher. I mean, both the catcher and the pitcher went to the dugout. Cruz also hustled out. Like they're going to yank Cruz, maybe put Cruz at short. That would not surprise me at all.
Well, Cruz runs out to his infield position as we'll take a look at the numbers for Marcus Niho this year. He has worked the second most innings of anyone, 15 1/3. Has a pitching record of 1-1, an ERA of 3.65. Has allowed 16 hits, 11 runs, 8 of which have been earned. Has almost 3 times as many strikeouts as walks, 17 Ks and just 6 walks.
Well, let's see if Castro goes behind the plate, number 18. I have a feeling, yes, he's going to come out. There he is there. Let's see if that's... Can't tell by the chest protector, but it looks like him behind the plate. And Cruz went from catcher to second base. Niho was the second baseman. So the tie is broken here in the bottom of the third thanks to a clutch hit by Inocencio, and Niho inherits a couple of base runners with nobody out.
So a new pitcher, a new second baseman, a new catcher, and a 1-0 lead for head coach Matt Sarter. Here's Jesse Ramos, the catcher, a strikeout victim back in the first. As the Tigers have broken through, they had a great chance in the first inning with the bases loaded. And just 1 out. Bunted. Niho will go to first as a run from third comes in to score. A sacrifice bunt and an RBI. Nicely done by Jesse Ramos.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times have we called a game, John, where a team can't just lay down a bunt, a sacrifice bunt, a basic play, and that was perfect. Right side of the infield, Niho had nowhere to go, and Benitez comes in to score, and it's now 2-0.
So a 2-0 lead for the Irving Tigers. First pitch is foul behind us. So RJ now with a 2-run lead so far. Damian Inocencio, the runner at second. The batter is Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman. And he was a batter when all that action took place to end the first inning with a fielder's choice and the runner's interference, and the run ended up not counting. So 2 runs home and a runner at second. Marcus Niho, he will leave the mound. He will field this one, and the short flip over to Perez in time for out number 2. 1-3 on the putout. In the process, Damian Inocencio takes third base. So a nice job by Alex Rodriguez to put the ball in play, hit it to the right side, force the pitcher Niho to make a play. And here's Greg Hart, the DH. And Hart swings on the first pitch and hits one on the ground foul wide of first. 2-0 Tigers and a runner at third.
I recall watching a 5A game. It's been a few years past where one team had a hard time fielding in a couple of positions, and one team bunted 4 straight times.
Put it in play to the left side. Coronado over to Perez for out number 3, but the Irving Tigers with a couple of runs on a couple of hits, no errors, and 1 left. In the middle of the third, our new score, the Irving Tigers 2 and the Nimitz Vikings nothing.
Well, congratulations to South Grand Prairie head baseball coach Art Soneto. Picked up his 400th career win as a head coach. The players all signed a baseball and gave it to him, and he got the starting lineup card as well. Said he put it in his house. And Art has been with about 7 or 8 different high schools in his career as a head coach, but he started off his career at Irving Cistercian High School, the private school in Irving. So 400 wins most of the time means you've been around the block once or twice.
He was at Nolan, Fort Worth Nolan for a while. I remember him there. 2-0, the Irving Tigers on top. As we go to the top half of inning number 4, it'll be the middle of the order for the Vikes. Noah Perez to lead it off.
Now there's football coach and athletic director of the campus, Aaron Delatorre. And the sweatshirt. Thing about, and being an educator or being in athletics, he's like at every game we're at, he's there. It's not like he gets a night off. If one of his groups of players or teams are playing at home, you'll see Coach Delatorre there.
It's a team sport all the way around, calendar-wise, in the school year. And you mentioned the campus, Rod. We're at the farthest point east of the Irving campus. 4 practice football fields and then the baseball field. First pitch is fouled straight back by Noah Perez, the first baseman.
I think we've only seen 1 train go by tonight. That could be a new ICTN train record.
It had to be early because I missed it.
It was. It's during daylight.
Perez swings and misses on the next pitch offered by Benitez. And RJ hit 0-2 to the first baseman. Greg Muskarnik, the DH to follow, and then Alex Martinez. High cheese, and Perez couldn't hold up as he swings and misses, and strikeout number 4 for the junior right-hander on the year, strikeout number 10. Those are district numbers, and here's Greg Musgarnik, the DH. Fouled out to Alex Rodriguez, and foul ground his first time up, sends this one into right field, moving towards the line. It's a fair ball, the dive by Andrew Benitez, and Greg gets up and takes second.
John, the ball just kept slicing down the right field line. Benitez didn't look like he got too bad of a jump on the ball. It seems like he was going to make a play on it, but it just kept slicing more and more toward the foul line. And fortunately, if you're a Viking fan, it fell right inside the white stripe on the field and ends up at second. He hurries, he takes the dive and misses by just about a step.
So ball fair by about 3.5 feet. Here's Alex Martinez, the center fielder, with a runner at second. Sends it to the left side. Diego Diaz eats it up and will go to third, trying to get the lead runner, and all hands are safe. It'll be a fielder's choice and a throwing error on Diaz's shortstop as they track down the ball in foul territory. Martinez ends up at second.
Now Coach Sarter is giving the home plate umpire a piece of his mind, thinking that the player might have interfered. How come he didn't call it on this one? Hits him right on the shoulder, and you know that the coach doesn't want to see his player get the lead runner like that. Go ahead and get this sure out at first. He'd had 2 down and a runner at third. Now 2 in scoring position and only 1 out.
Yeah, because Diaz had plenty of time to throw out Martinez at first. That would have held the runner at second. This pitch is rolling away. And the count 1-1 on the number 8 hitter, catcher Alejandro Cruz. Walked his first time up, 2-0, Irving on top. And this one fouled about a third of the way up the backstop. Always think you can get that lead runner, and didn't work out defensively for the Tigers. Throwing into traffic as it is when you try to get that lead runner. So the count up high, and the count level at 2-2. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. So the batter, Cruz, stays alive. That one hit hard somewhere. The leg kick, and the next pitch is up high, ball 3. Car's now two-tone color.
Has its second dent.
1 out. Here's the pitch. In the air to center field, playable for Grant Watkins. Hardly moves at all. Runner at third, halfway down. He'll go back to the bag, and a head-first slide by Greg Musgarnik.
Ball was not hit deep enough off the bat of Cruz. Watkins plays about halfway in center, the lefty. Got a good jump on it, and Musgarnik is not extremely quick. And he got about halfway down and put on the brakes and did a Three Stooges and get back to third.
Home plate umpire will dust off the dish. Better target for Benitez now out on the mound. The batter is Marcus Nijo, the second baseman who struck out back in the second. 2 on, 2 out, and the Tigers on top by 2. RJ throws, and that one off the bat handle. Run down by Ramos.
He didn't call a dead ball, though, did he?
Did not, as it just made contact just below the hand.
Let's look.
No,
Yeah,
it
it went
didn't.
off the glove of the catcher. Yeah, that's It didn't hit the bat because the home plate umpire didn't signal anything.
Didn't at all. This one driven to right center field, but Watkins on the run and able to catch up with it and pocket it for out number 3. A couple of fly balls to center field and no damage done. The Vikings strand 2, no runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and a couple left. It's the middle of the 4th. It's still 2-0 in favor of the Irving Tigers.
A good inning for the center fielder, Grant Watkins. A couple of put-outs, kept the runner from scoring at third and tracked that one down. You always like to have someone fleet of foot out in center to chase down the fly balls, and a good job by Grant Watkins. Looking at other teams, John, across the Metroplex in district and who are the district leaders, and they all seem familiar. You got the Rockwall, 16-3, Rowlett, they're always there. Coppell, who of course will be in this district next year. Irving, Nimitz, and then you got Coppell and the Flower Mound schools and the Louisville school districts. All of those teams doing quite well in their run differential. Rockwall's like at a +89 and Coppell a +76. And the Coppell Cowboys will be in this district next year. And lo and behold, in 6-6A, who do you think's leading the district there in baseball?
Well, I saw the first state rankings of the year. To no one's surprise, you know who it is. The Dragons of Southlake are ranked 3rd in the state, but that's not the answer to our question.
Could it be Allen?
Allen Eagles have had quite a school year, winning a state championship in football and basketball.
And now, it's like the other teams have caught up with football.
Yeah, they have. It's taken that. Well, that's the school calendar for you. It just plays out, and the bigger enrollment schools just have more depth. What a pitch, high and tight to the leadoff batter, Christian Rodriguez. Christian struck out back in the 2nd. That pitch low and away.
I can't recall in the past Nimitz Vikings with these hats, the NV on their hat. I always like the look. It almost looks like the Detroit Tigers Roman script type hats, and maybe because we always did their home games, but a little different for me this year.
Punch to the right side, and the second baseman on a knee. Cruz will take it and throw over to Perez for out number 1. You're right. I mean, the NV almost looked like the Yankees. It almost looked like an NY in the last couple of years because the V was interlocked with the N, but now it's more to the side. And new caps, Andrew Benitez, the right fielder up.
Sure that's not Nevada?
The Nolan Vikings, NV.
How about Nevada in college basketball?
And Rhode Island. Nevada and Rhode Island knocking off Texas and Oklahoma in the first round. Lined into center field and a base hit for Andrew Benitez. Base hit number 5 for the Tigers. And a 1-out single, base hit, the 5th hit overall, so they continue to have a hit in every inning. And Chance Malcolmesius, the left fielder, up for the 2nd time.
Let me just say, folks, he gave Benitez a base hit back in the 2nd. We had a discussion as that one came back and hit the lip of the mound there, the grass and the dirt. I was going to give the pitcher an error, but give him a hit.
This one lined into the right field corner. So he's got a couple of hits tonight. Malcolmesius came in batting .278. Jacob Castro started for the Vikings, went 2 innings. Marcus Neo came in top of the third. That one didn't turn over as it stays up high. Grant Watkins on deck. Both teams 0-2 in the district. A twist and a throw to first, but Benitez back in time. Head coach Matt Sarter going through the signs down at third. Chance swings, and this one fouled off as well as a runner was off Benitez. As they started him, he has to now go back to first. Matt played in the AA Dodger organization for a couple of years. Played here under his dad. In his second year, Ben Sarter, the coach. That one outside. And Marcus falls behind. Marcus set at the belt. He's coming home. That one waved at and missed. The throw to first, and the swipe tag not in time. Close play as Perez got the glove down, but Benitez got that hand in just under the tag.
Yeah, good call.
Strikeout number 5 for Nimitz pitching, but more importantly, 2 outs. And here's the top of the order, center fielder Grant Watkins. A perfect 1-for-1 with a walk and a run scored. Breaking pitch, a dandy as it froze Watkins.
One would have to imagine that with Castro behind the plate, as a pitcher as well, he has a strong throwing arm.
Another breaking pitch, topped foul, and the count 0-2.
We saw that as he tried to get Benitez down at first base.
Again, Benitez takes his lead at first and draws another throw. Grant came in batting .400 in district play. That one right down the middle, a called strike. Throw not necessary as Watkins strikes out. And for the Irving Tigers here, no runs on a hit, a runner left, and a couple of strikeouts. We break with the Irving Tigers on top 2-0. We've completed 4 in the Irving Tigers on top 2-0. Varsity Irving Tigers in soccer play about a couple of 100 yards to the west. Rob Williman has put on the jacket, and it's all yours.
And the first pitch swung on and hit by Castro right to center field, and that is the 3rd straight put out by Watkins in center. His 4th tonight. And Marcus Coronado, the shortstop, up for the Vikings, down by 2. Last inning was their best chance to score. First pitch swinging, fouled off. Coronado singled in the first, reached in the 3rd when he struck out, but got past the catcher Ramos. They had 2 on and only 1 out in the 4th inning. At the bottom of the order, no one could get the clutch hit, and they remain scoreless. Vikings had won 3 in a row before they lost to the Gophers in the district opener. Swung on, off to the right side. We can only guess they have plenty of baseballs.
It's just a foul ball palooza on the right side.
Isn't it? If you were in the majors at a game, you'd want to hedge your bet as a kid and hang out around the first base side.
You'd have a bag full right now.
Wouldn't you? Grounded to first. Couple of hoppers. Down on the knee is Inocencio and can't make the play. And so Coronado has been on base all 3 times. Twice because of boo-boos in the field. And there's one down in John McDuffie, third baseman. Flew out to Watkins back in the 3rd. Vikings trying to manufacture some runs as R.J. Benitez has done a really good job on the hill. And he's not shy about throwing over to first base at all. Got timeout called as Coronado has to do some maintenance. Maybe the belt came loose.
May have to get a new belt before this game is over. They got the leadoff batter Castro, but then the play by Inocencio unable to get Coronado at first. It's given the Vikings a chance here in the top half of the 5th.
Do like they do on Gilligan's Island. Just use a rope.
Rope.
Yes. Let's put a rope around you.
That's broke. That's
history. Now,
belt's gone for good now.
Is it one size fits all?
A JVer that has maybe the
You
same
know,
waist.
These guys are all skinny. They're young. They run around. They don't gain weight.
Lose a couple of pounds during a game anyway.
Yeah. Then they eat like a gallon of ice cream the next day, and it doesn't even show. We're not jealous.
Jack, it feels pretty good now, doesn't it?
It does. A little smile on the face of Coronado. Equipment is fixed. Waiting on the base umpire to get in position. He gives the old point to the home plate umpire. We're ready to go. 1 out, 1 on. Fastball high. Ramos did his best job of bringing that down after the ball across the plate to get the home plate umpire to call it a strike. Didn't work. McDuffie, 5 RBIs this year. May not sound like a lot, but runs have been tough. Vikings did score 12, or scored 6 in their loss to Lamar. That out of play again. Guess where? To the right side.
They have had their chances. They have stranded 6 runners tonight. They have not been shut out so far, but trailing 2-0.
Vikings lost 6 in a row before they defeated Nolan, the private school out of Fort Worth. Runner moving. The throw not in time. The pitch was called a strike. Gave up 14 runs to the Gophers, gave up 12 to Lamar. Lost twice to Lamar already this year. And the 1-2 offering outside backhand. And it's now 2-2.
Yeah, these two teams do have some common opponents. One of them you just mentioned, Arlington Lamar. They're a combined 0-4 against Lamar this year. They've also played Trinity.
A lot of heat on the last pitch by Benitez, but not in the strike zone. And just like that, the count is full at 3-2.
They are 1-1 against Trinity, and they also have a common opponent in Lancaster.
The Tigers.
2-0 against Lancaster.
3-2 offering. Hit him. And now they're 2 aboard. It was going to be a ball anyway. First hit by pitch, but let's see if he has the elbow guard on. Yes, No wonder he didn't just barely flinched.
The soft padding pays off.
Yeah, flip the bat. Vegan now up. There's a guy that comes in almost hitting 300. He's picked up 9 RBI and trying to get the clutch hit here in the top of the 5th. Grounder to short. Tough play at second. They get the force as Diaz had a hard time digging that out of the dirt. But he gets McDuffie. Fielder's choice for Vegan.
Almost got no one as Diaz had to fight it off. Rodriguez is waiting. Where's the ball? There it is, and a bang play at second, or they would be loaded.
So 2 outs, runners at the corners, and Noah Perez, who has struck out twice swinging, swings at the first pitch, close to the fence, goes over the netting, and it's just a long strike.
Netting extends very high here at Tiger Yard. Got a very good backstop, high nets. Well protected, unless it falls straight down.
Well, love the aggressiveness by Noah, the junior first baseman, who's playing in his 3rd game. That's low in the dirt. One of the players had some family issues they had to tend to, so the team already thin, using a lot of fresh faces out there. And Perez looking for his first hit of the season with 2 outs and his team down by 2 here in the 5th. Surprises me that Benitez would try to throw to first with a runner at 3rd and a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, third base runner means nothing right now.
Let's see if Benitez tries to work that outside part of the plate. Catcher sitting up there. Comes more so down the middle. High fly, right side infield. 3 runners converge, and it falls. A run comes in. And you could pretty much hear everyone kind of gasping as that ball hit because, you know, Inocencio, Christian Rodriguez, Benitez and Wright, they're all just kind of coming after it, but no one took charge.
No, they all gave up on it. Nobody touched it. It's a base hit and an RBI for Perez. There's Inocencio, and just kind of let it go.
Swinging at the first pitch is Mascarenek. So Perez says, I'll take the hit. I'll take the RBI. And his team is now down by just 1, 2-1. 2 outs, runners at the corners. And Mascarenek comes up empty on a hot swing. Got a double the 4th. Seemed like that last hit where it just stayed up there forever, John.
It hung up, and a great chance to get that 3rd out.
Ramos just stood up as his pitcher threw high and away.
Coronado able to score from 3rd. Since he reached on an error, his run is unearned.
It's in the dirt. Vegan back to 3rd. Perez at 1st. Mascarenek looking at a 2-2 pitch. You see the call from Ramos. Low and away, swung and missed. A big strikeout registered by R.J. Benitez, his 5th of the ball game. Vikings make a mark, but the Tigers still lead as we head to the bottom of the 5th here at Tiger Yard.
Lead has been cut in half. So a little bit of a bounce to the step, if you will, for Neho. He's got something to work with now as the concession stand is as busy as it's ever been right now. Game about halfway over if the lead continues, and bang up business, as they say, at the concession stand.
You wait for those last-minute sales, you know, when they have too many hot dogs and not enough time left in the game, and it's like, you know, 50-cent hot dogs.
And then it's just a beeline. Hope you don't get run over when they make the announcement. You know, last week, Rob, we talked about that hot softball pitcher from the University of Alabama setting some strikeout records in the NCAA, and we'll get to this as the game continues. But so far, this is our first baseball game. So far, collegiately across the country, there have been more no-hitters thrown in the first month and a half of the college baseball season than ever before. 13 no-hitters have been spun so far by various pitchers from coast to coast. I think 6 was the most ever at this point of the season in college baseball history.
Curveball outside to R.J. Benitez. Walked in the first, doubled, scored the second run in the third. So what are we going to blame for that? Is it a juiced baseball, or is
coming all over the place? No hitters right and left.
Is the baseball like soaked in water, you know, and they can't hit it as well, or? They always said, you know, they would blame the bats at the beginning, you know, when the metal bats took over. That's why hitting was so fierce. Here's a fly ball to right. Vegan is over, makes the catch.
Well, when you typically see no-hitters in Major League Baseball, it's usually in the early part of the season. The first couple of months is when the majority of the no-hitters occur. I don't have an explanation collegiately. That's really a head-scratcher, that many no-hitters already in NCAA play.
Damian Inocencio up. Fastball tight and inside. Damian walked in the first, singled in the third. Neho took over the last inning. Curveball low and in the dirt. Neho, like a lot of his teammates, like to wear the pants up near the knees. Strike on the outside corner, pretty pitch.
As do most of the Vikings.
They do.
All of them.
Hit the outside corner this time. And it's 2-2. Inocencio not buying that pitch. Breaking ball way outside.
Neho now working his 18th inning of the year. He and Daniel Martinez have thrown the most inning-wise for the Vikings.
Swung on and missed. Another strikeout. 7th for both pitchers combined for the Vikings. 2 up, 2 down, and Jesse Ramos, the senior catcher, up. Daniel Martinez will pitch the second game of the series. Bounce right to third. McDuffie, the first. And 3 up, 3 down. Here in the 5th. And we go to inning number 6 at Tiger Yard.
First 1, 2, 3 inning of the game.
And as Nimitz comes to the plate, kind of look back at some of those former players. Back together again, the Williams brothers. Braden and Brendan are playing together again at New Mexico State. Braden, a junior catcher, and Brendan, a freshman outfielder, both in their first year for the Aggies. Now, Braden, he played 2 years at Navarro before heading off to Las Cruces, and Brendan just graduated from Nimitz last spring. So for Coach Alan Somwang and company, a couple of good players there.
Well, his dad was telling us last year we did a couple of games at the shipyard that he thought it fit in pretty well in New Mexico State. They saw him play a handful of games and some of them in tournament play, and that's where he is now, Las Cruces.
See, I think New Mexico is the unsung outdoor state. You know, Colorado gets all the pub for being a great outdoor state, but New Mexico has its fair share of state parks and camping, and the northern part is mountainous, Rocky Mountains and all those. It kind of comes down into the northern half of New Mexico. And I was not paid by the Visitors Convention Bureau.
Well,
for
Santa Fe
just
either, so. Yeah, they just called Convention and Visitors Bureau in Santa Fe.
The second oldest city in the United States, by the way. All right, so we go to the top of the sixth, in the bottom third of the order for the Vikings. Martinez, Cruz, and Niho facing R.J. Benitez. 5 strikeouts, a couple of walks. And if it wasn't for an error there in the 5th, although he didn't help his cause with the hit batter, but might have had the shutout still intact. First pitch, fastball right down the pipe to Martinez, the center fielder. Flied out in the 2nd and reached on a fielder's choice in the 4th, although he was stranded there. We've seen a lot of pitches tonight by both teams that have bounced in the dirt, and a lot of pitches that have gone way outside, trying to get their opponent to bite. Fast and tight, too high, 2 balls and a strike. Nobody up and throwing that I can tell for Sarter and company. Another one tight and inside, and it's 3-1.
Vikings have stranded 7 men tonight and running out of innings here.
That's a strike called.
Alex had started to lean and run down the first baseline. Thought it missed.
Although the Vikings have had base runners in every inning, they have yet to get their leadoff batter on board. And that holds true now as a called strike 3 to Martinez to lead off the 6th.
Number 6 for R.J. Benitez. He has walked 1. He's hit a couple of batters and has a wild pitch.
Alejandro Cruz now playing second base. Started out as the catcher behind the plate. Looks at a called strike. High fly to short. Diego Diaz is there. The put out, and there's 2 down.
Hey, that was his ball all the way. Chance running a long way from left field, but Diego had that one measured all the way.
Yeah, by the time it fell, it was only just a couple of steps in the grass outside the dirt. So 2 up, 2 down. Benitez looking for his first 3 up, 3 down inning here in the ball game. Pitch was close, but again, Ramos has really loved to set up outside all night on that outside part of the plate. Marcos comes up empty-handed on that pitch. Niho now the pitcher for the Vikings, 0 for 2. A lot of heat on that delivery, but misses, and it's ball 2.
RJ has scattered 3 hits, a couple of singles, and a double tonight.
fouled where else, but off to the right side.
Jammed him, and a late swing by Marcus.
Oh, got him to swing at a bad pitch. Another strikeout, his 7th. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 6th. We go to the bottom. Still 2-1 in favor of the Irving Tigers.
Nice piece of pitching by the junior. He has retired the last 4. He has struck out 3 of the last 4 batters he's faced. And still a tight one at 2-1.
At this stage of the district season, with the Warriors, Gophers, Duncanville, and Cedar Hill all at 2-0 in district play, you look at their overall record. There is the district record as we speak. Still early, a lot can happen. The Irving schools, they'll be the first to tell you they're going for that 4th spot. As some of the fans chow down on some grub here between innings. The Warriors, I guess, with the best overall record at 10-3-1. The Gophers at 10-5-0, and then Duncanville, the other 10-game winner. But then after that, even though Cedar Hill is in 4th place, they're only 4-5-1 overall. No one after the top 3 with winning overall records at this stage of the season. DeSoto, you look at last year's overall district record. Warriors perfect in district play. Duncanville MacArthur finished at 7-7, but Duncanville defeated MacArthur for the 4th spot in postseason. Foul straight back as Rodriguez steps in here in the bottom of the 6th. He has grounded out both times to the pitcher. What's the odds he'll do it again, John?
Well, let's see. Not good on that pitch.
They didn't call a strike, but man, he had a bend in that, didn't he?
He sure did. That broke about as well as he's thrown one tonight.
Comes right back with a tight fastball, and Rodriguez isn't budging. That one called on the outside corner, and I can kind of see why everyone's setting up on the outside. They get that call.
Probably 80% of the time tonight they have.
Count even at 2-2. Next ball fouled off to the right.
We'll see the Tigers later in the spring against Mack, and then we'll see the Vikings against the Cardinals over at Nimitz. And sandwiched in between another softball game.
Hey, let's hope they have that road fixed by then.
Yeah, that's not easy to navigate right in front of Nimitz High right now.
Boy, you'd hate to see it when they let school out in the afternoon, or in the morning, for that fact. Swung and missed. Strikeout as Rodriguez goes down swinging. Strikeout number 8 now for the Vikings overall, and that'll bring up Hart, junior DH.
Well, Jacob Castro had 4 strikeouts. Marcus Neal now has 4.
Jammed him a little bit, and he fouls it off to the right. Christian Rodriguez, the freshman, will be next here in the bottom of the 6th.
Looking ahead to the top of the 7th of the Vikings, it'll be the top of the order.
Good bend in that pitch, but said it was too high. Hit to right center. Right fielder's going to try to get the put out at first. Vegan tried, but Hart with a base hit, a solid base hit to right. And now Christian Rodriguez, the freshman, steps in. I've noticed, John, the last 2 innings that Niho's curveballs more over the plate than they have been earlier.
Breaks about halfway in front of home. There's one bunted right back, though.
Niho will go to first. Draws the first baseman, Perez, off the bag, but he's able to keep the leg on nonetheless. Hart goes to second. Rodriguez with the sacrifice. So Coach Matt Sarter hoping that he can get Benitez, who's been on base twice. So you look at that. So if you look at that, John, and you see that Benitez has been on twice, so you bunt their guy over. But then if you're Nimitz and you look to see that the guy batting ninth has struck out twice, you know, do you pitch around this guy?
Well, Benitez, pretty good hitter.
For the sophomore, although he came in at 125, he's had a good night tonight against Viking pitching. Strike called, big insurance run for the Tigers if they could plate Hart from second here. Heading into the 7th. Niho taking his time. Nice curveball, but ball too low.
Pretty good.
Has he got any of those curveball calls, John?
Oh, they look pretty good right at the knee-high area. But you're right about the deuce. When he throws it, you can pick it up about halfway and got some pretty good spin on it.
That's a called strike. And it's 2-2.
Boy, like Jacob Castro, Marcos works pretty fast. He has settled into a pretty good groove out there on the mound.
So Andrew Benitez very wisely steps out of the box, trying to break the pitcher's concentration. Another curveball. This time he comes up empty. And Benitez goes down on strike. Strikeout number 9 for the Viking pitching. And we head to the 7th. Tigers holding on to a 2-1 lead. The Vikings will have the top of the order here in the top of the 7th. Jacob Castro, Marcus Coronado, and John McDuffie as they try to get at least 1 run to tie things up here in the top of the 7th against R.J. Benitez. He's pitched a really good game. Fastball high and tight to Castro.
Kind of unusual. Other than the start of the game, this is the 3rd time that the top third of the order have led off an inning. Castro, Coronado, and McDuffie.
Fastball, ooh, it hits the catcher. Ramos is like, ouch.
Yeah, you could hear him on that follow-through by Castro. Got him on the right shoulder.
You know, I thought they had those chest protectors that had the shoulder.
Some of them extend both sides. His just extends to the left.
Yeah.
But he's all right.
Gives the thumbs up to his pitcher, and after saying a few choice words and biting his upper lip a few times, he's ready to go. Tigers won their first game of the season against North Garland, 15-2. After a tie, they dropped a couple in a row. Ball high, 2-1. They had a 2-winning streak when they defeated Lancaster and Arlington Sam Houston, and then proceeded to lose 5 in a row. Trying to break that against their rivals, Nimitz. one of those losses to one of their former district foes, R.L. Turner, lost 6-2.
Trying to win a one-run game here and pick up their first district win of the year.
Hit right side, down the line, giving chase. And out of play was Inocencio. Stayed with it as long as he could.
That's the closest that a foul ball has come to staying in the field in that right side.
Damian laughing a little bit and talking to the Viking players over there. Castro says, I'm not going to swing at that one.
He wanted it. RJ did, but overthrew it.
Oh, big time. I don't think that Castro's the kind of guy you want to throw a hanging curveball to, though. As he has a little power. Fastball right down the middle, past the shortstop Diaz into center field. And the Vikings get their leadoff runner aboard here in the 7th, and that'll bring up Marcus Coronado, who has reached base 3 times tonight. A single, a strikeout in which it went past the catcher, and then an error on the first baseman back in the 5th, as you saw some action.
David Loza, freshman.
In the Irving Tiger pen. Coronado's first pitch, a bunt, laid down perfectly. The toss in time, 1 down. Castro gets to second. Coronado with the sack. Now they got a play where the runner goes to third as a missed throw back to the pitcher.
And of all things, just a fundamental throw back, and you give up an extra base. I don't think time was called.
That's the question here by Sarter and by Benitez.
No, there wasn't time.
Asking if time had been called, and now just like that, a routine sacrifice is a double sack as Castro ends at third. So now there's the tying run at third with 2 outs and McDuffie up, or 1 out, excuse me, and McDuffie up. Hits it to right. This could play to run. It's going to fall. Base hit. We're tied. A late jump by Castro, but he comes in nonetheless to tie it up as McDuffie gets the base hit and the RBI, his 6th RBI of the season.
And the Viking fans that came across town to see this one tonight are happy. They've got new life, and we start over at 2. That one just out of the reach of everyone, and an RBI for McDuffie.
Little inside-out swing. Don't know how much that play where time they thought was called and wasn't, and Castro goes to third. And credit McDuffie, he jumped all over that pitch, inside-out swing. And now he is at first, the go-ahead run. Chad Vigan up, got hit in the first, flied out in the third, reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. You know, you could always try to sacrifice him over and then hope with 2 outs Perez could come up with a clutch hit. Vigan backs back, the lefty. As we all know, bunting from that side. Got an extra few steps. Might be able to beat the throw out. Might cause a wild throw. Third baseman, Alex Rodriguez, way back at third. Fastball. Hit in the air to left. Center fielder Watkins comes in. Left fielder calls him off. They got a runner way off the bag. And they're going to double up McDuffie, who was running when the ball was hit for some reason, and a double play ends the inning.
I don't know if he thought there were 2 out or not, but he never broke stride when McDuffie took off as soon as the ball was hit. And a double play, but the Vikings have tied it up.
Well, what a way to end that inning. As we go to the 7th, the bottom of the 7th, it'll be the left fielder who made that play, Chance Malcolmisius, will lead things up, and then they go to the top of the order. Watch again, John.
This one hit to short left field as Chance able to get momentum behind it. I bet he was as surprised as anyone when he saw the runner halfway between second and third, and an easy throw to double up.
You could see the bench and his coach and everyone screaming to throw to first after he made the catch. It just, runner had to think there were 2 outs.
Yeah, it may cost them, but at least they've tied it up. And now you've got this Tiger pride and the Viking fight that never dies here in the bottom of the 7th.
Well, new life for the Vikes for sure. And how many times have you seen the key to winning a game in this series is someone that you wouldn't expect? 7th, 8th, 9th hitter.
Yeah, and you go back, Rob, to that confusion in the first inning in what we thought a run that could have counted back with that screwball play. The fielder's choice, the throwing error, and the runner's interference play that could have made it a 3-2 game right now. But the run didn't count.
Chance, who made that play to end the top of the 7th. Malcolm Esius struck out twice. Grounds in the hole. Base hit. Tigers get their leadoff man aboard.
And like the Vikings, the Irving Tigers start things off with a single.
Well, how many times have you seen where leadoff man gets aboard and it changes the whole outlook and how things will happen? So do we have Watkins, who is by far one of their better hitters, a center fielder? Does he bunt? Does he sacrifice? Do you take the bat out of his hands? Third baseman McDuffie in. Fastball high and tight. Neho might have thought so. Said, I'm not going to give you a good pitch to bunt. If they thought about bunting, he didn't show his cards right there, did he?
Well, he struck out his last time up, but he did deliver with a base hit in the bottom of the first inning. He didn't shorten up at all.
Fastball called strike. Right on the outside corner. Sarter with the patty cake, the belt, the hat. Back to the bill. Can you keep up? Can you keep up?
Game on the line here in the 7th.
Did they get him at first? No, it was close. Malcolm Esius almost caught, leaning the wrong direction.
Almost hung him out to dry.
Yep. Good move by Neho. Look at the lead he had.
It is a good throw.
Yeah, he was back. And the 1-1 curveball. Called strike. And it's 1-2, and now Watkins has to be a little bit more aggressive. You can't watch anything close.
That kind of changes the dynamics.
It does. Well played. Throw back to first. Shortstop Coronado. Fairly straight away at short. McDuffie at third, even with the bag. Swung on and missed.
Oh, young Marcos now with 6 strikeouts since coming on in the 3rd inning from Jacob Castro.
What's that, about what, 10 overall?
6 and 4 equals out to double digits now.
So now the pitcher of record for the Tigers, R.J. Benitez. Bunts it right back. Now they bunt.
Yeah, and now you're going to have the shortstop go to third. You're going to have McDuffie down the line at third. If this play is on again.
I don't know. I'm surprised. I mean, he came in
with
batting
1 out.
He came in batting .389, 5 RBI. Didn't look so there. Maybe he just didn't see the sign correctly. Fastball hit right side infield. Will it stay? No.
Another scuff ball out of play. Pitchers ought to like that scuff ball now. Don't have that many supply, but you got to chase it down and put it back into the umpire's pocket.
Looks like Vikings have some movement in the pen. Curveball inside corner, didn't make it.
Broke a little late.
Looks like Monsevious, number 22, warming up for Nimitz. That's way outside. Not even close, and that fills the count at 3-2.
You mentioned Monsevious. He has the third most innings worked this year. So he's a possibility if Neo struggles here.
Hit to right, down the line. Will it stay fair? Stays up in the air enough for Vegan to give chase, but can't make it.
Almost through the fence.
Here's my thought. Monsevious will come out in the 8th inning if we go extra. That's my prediction.
Yeah, that very well could happen.
I think he'll stick with Niho here in the bottom of the 7th. You see the count. Damian Insensinio is up next. Runner moving. Ball 4.
And now, Chance a little closer in scoring position at second. That's the first walk that Marcos has allowed.
Because he hit the other 2 batters, right? So Inocencio coming up. We have a pinch runner.
At old number 17 again, Damian Millen.
Yep. Although he's really not the key runner in all this. It's all about Malcolm Esius, the runner at second. Inocencio, he singled in the 3rd. Also struck out in the 5th.
And Alan Samwong going to come out from the first base dugout and visit with his right-hander, and the entire infield will come to the mound as well.
Castro was trying to get a point across, and they're going to hand the ball off, and it appears. And, yep, they're going to go ahead and bring him out.
Double deuce coming on.
We thought maybe perhaps that they would hold him, but like you said, they got into a bind and needed to bring out Eduardo Monsevious.
Eduardo has worked 10 2/3 innings this year. Appearing in his 8th game, has a record of 0-1. Has allowed 12 hits, 6 runs, 6 of which have been earned. He has walked 4 and struck out 12, a 3-to-1 ratio, and has an ERA of under 4. And will try to put out the fire here in the bottom of the 7th. Jacob Castro went 2. Marcus Niho has now gone 3 1/3.
Appears that Niho may go out to left field.
I was looking at that spot as well.
Taking Barnett's place. Well, quite a spot for the 5'10" senior. Come out with the winning run at second and only 1 out.
So Barnett out of his spot in left field. Neo's now played 4 different positions tonight. Is that right?
3.
2, 3, yeah.
Started at second, went into pitch. Now he's in left.
And a good arm out of left field.
Yeah, and you'll need it if Malcolm Isivius decides to stretch that in from second to home. All right, the first pitch. Right down the pipe, a called strike. Dano Cincio. Key spot for the Tigers. The opener of a 2-game set, the home and home series. 1-0 pitch is high and tight, and Damian barely got out of the way of that one.
Served notice that come inside. First baseman Perez was in on the grass.
Still playing back. Fastball high and tight. You know, that's sometimes what you face, John, when you bring a guy into a ball game like this that hasn't done much the entire game but sit on the bench, and then he gets up to throw a while. Sometimes control's an issue, at least with the first batter.
Yeah, a couple of righties.
Just like the last two, high and tight. And now it's 3-1, and he's a pitch shy of loading the bases.
Both runners, the responsibility of Niho.
Malcolm Isius down at second, the winning run. That's another high and tight. 4 straight pitches of ball. Bases are loaded. Millen goes down to second, but more importantly, Chance goes to third, and the winning run within the range of home plate as Ramos, the catcher. And with 1 out, there's all sorts of plays you can try. Lay down the bunt, John.
Fly ball in the outfield that's
Yeah.
deep enough. What this could do, Rob, it could give R.J. Benitez his first win in district and make Marcos Nijos the losing pitcher if they push across this run.
And the way Eduardo's been pitching, he could very well walk the winning run in.
Well, the pitcher is, he's not following through. He's shortening his stride and just dropping his elbow.
Monsavias, strike called there.
A little better form there.
Yep, Ramos was just taking that all the way, daring him to throw a strike. Good form, let off a little bit, I think, helped. All that counts is Malcolm Isius down at third. Timeout called by Castro. He'll go out and talk to his senior pitcher.
You're right, a lot of possibilities. A balk, a wild pitch, a pass ball. And
Hit
again,
batter.
a fly ball. Yeah, hit batter, fly ball that may be medium deep in the outfield.
Chance has got pretty good speed at third. And do you chance it, no pun intended, with 1 out? Here we go. Suicide. The play at the plate, not in time. Tigers win.
Jesse Ramos, a suicide bunt. And Malcolm Isius scores from third with 1 out and the bases loaded. An RBI, game-winning RBI for Jesse Ramos. And another look at it with the bases loaded. The pitch was up high and able to get the barrel of the bat on it and put it in play, and the throw not near in time as Chance scores safely from third as the Irving Tigers pick up their first district win of the year. It gives the junior R.J. Benitez his first win in district play. Some heroics here in the bottom of the 7th.
Absolutely. You know, tip of the hat to Matt Sarter and company. Chance was taking off as soon as the pitcher went into his windup, so it wasn't like a safety squeeze. It was just a flat-out, we're going, and he took off, and a job well done by Jesse Ramos with the sacrifice. Monsavias unable to make the play at the plate. And the Tigers win game one of a two-game series here in district by a score of 3-2. Boy, what a fun game tonight here at Tiger Yard. Well, that's going to do it for this week's version of the ICTN Game of the Week. For John Nelson and the entire ICTN crew, Rob Woolman with you, bidding you a pleasant good evening.